Welcome to the Digital Nomad Experts podcast, 100th anniversary edition. And just on par for us, this is our second 100th anniversary edition. So this is our 101st podcast because, of course, the first time we recorded it, my microphone went out.
Mine also went out the second half.
I think your microphone completely went out. Mine just mine had a ghost in the machine. It just switched to my AirPods. It was just doing whatever the hell it wanted. We listened to it and we decided, okay, this is getting tossed in the scrapyard. This is absolute garbage. It's so sad because it was the only podcast we've had in 99 weeks where we missed a week because
it was fitting for us.
Our recording.
It was also one of my favorite ones we've ever recorded. Like I was crying, laughing at least 3 or 4 times. So hopefully it'll be just as good today.
So this time we're gonna fake our tears and try to do the same thing over again. No, we've actually a la Marissa and ChatGPT. We've come up with 21 questions that only Marissa knows what they are. So Marissa is going to read me and Diego, and then she's going to answer last these random questions, which we have no idea what they are. So we did it the first time. I promise you, it's a lot of fun. If you get to hear it, it's going to be a blast. And if it goes well, we'll end up doing we've done similar stuff to this in the past. Not quite like this, but they're a lot of fun. We found that we learned a lot about ourselves, and we learned, actually we find them to be pretty helpful because we tie together a lot of stuff that we've talked about previous podcasts. We talked about a lot of the questions that we've answered from podcast listeners in the past. So it's pretty cool. And we hope you enjoy. So with that, Marissa, you are going to be the moderator.
Yes.
Feed us some questions.
Yes.
Please.
All right. So 21 rapid fire questions for our 100th anniversary. I'm super excited. And yeah, we think you'll learn a lot along with this. So number 1, kicking it off to you to start, Jeff. What is the most underrated destination that you've ever traveled to? It's a hard one to start.
Do this. Oh, no, I know what it is. And you're just going to shred me.
No, what?
Underrated.
Like underrated?
It's Romania.
Oh.
It's Romania.
Of course
it's so underrated. Damn it. It had to be that one because I knew you were going to roll your eyes. Let me tell you, it's got all the things that you don't like. It's got old buildings. Check. Love it. It's got tons of like history and spirits in the wood.
No good.
It's got like a surprising coffee culture scene, which you don't like.
Nope.
It's like it's your anti-hero. It's like your opposite camp.
But it's everything you like.
Everything.
Basically, we've realized we just like everything opposite. Like we should never travel together because we like opposite places. Is what we've learned through this podcast.
I like the beach for 2 weeks. We might have an intersection.
All right.
A 2-week intersection at some point. Yeah.
So Romania, we're underrated for all the reasons that you just said, and you weren't expecting to like it, love it, anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just needed to get out of Schengen. We're like, cheap flight, Romania. Bam.
And I went because underrated. I needed another place to go from Bulgaria, and you and some of our friends were going, and Diego was going shortly after, and I was like, all right, I'll come too, but I did not like it.
So neither of us really went there by choice. We went there out of necessity.
And so did Diego. Diego had to go there for his partners. Like I think she was having like back PT. There was something else you guys had to go there for, right, Diego?
Yeah, I mean my girlfriend, my fiance, is from Romania, so I do go. Yeah, so we go back there quite often. Fun fact, I actually only ever do all of my like dental stuff and any health related stuff in Romania because the medical facilities there and the education is really, really top notch. And at the same time, the prices are really low. So if you want to do medical tourism, and of course, for all of the other reasons that Jeff said, coffee, spirits in the forest, etc., you can combine those things really nicely in Romania. Highly recommend it. However, I would probably recommend Cluj over Bucharest. Yes. It's all the big history of vampires and all that.
Yeah, I'm down with that. We went to Dracula's castle and all the things, but we'll see. All right, next, Diego, what's your most underrated destination?
Initially, I thought about Antigua, Guatemala, because I love it so much. Jeff, you were just there recently. And I do think that whilst people are starting to figure it out, it's still relatively under the radar. It's not as popular as many others. But I think as another one, I'm probably going to throw Dahab out there. Dahab in Egypt. It's not really on the Nomad Trail at all yet, but a really, really cool spot. Very like just a small town you can walk around. It's idyllic. It just looks absolutely. It looks like something out of a dream, something that somebody's made up for a movie or something like that. It's really cool. And yeah, you just get, it's got all the basic necessities that you need as a nomad, plus walkables. So I would recommend checking that place out. And great for diving.
That's
You
a
can get your
great one.
certificate there if you want.
Yeah, and that's
Very
a
How
cool.
lot
about
of
you,
people
Marissa?
ask us sometimes when we say locations. They're like, "What was that location you mentioned in this?" As Dahab. Dahab. I know that one's like sometimes hard to hear what we're saying, but I love that. Yeah. So Jeff, yours is a whole country. Yours is a place within Egypt, Diego. And for this, by the way, guys, I know for you and for anyone listening, our rule for these rapid fire questions are like whatever the first thing that comes to mind, so we don't overthink it. Because otherwise, I would sit here being like, "Oh my gosh, I have to think through everywhere I've ever traveled." So I'm just gonna go with the very first place that came to my mind was a whole country, and that was Myanmar for me. So next to Thailand, I only went for a short time after I was
Oh,
actually in
interesting.
Thailand with you, Diego.
Surprise.
Yeah,
Myanmar.
it's honestly still to date one of my favorite. You know, I've been to I guess almost 80 countries. It's probably one of my top favorites I've ever been to. And like when I went there, you know, when you go through customs and it always says like if you're a foreigner or a local, and I went with our friend Murray. I was like we were the only tourists that were, you know, off of our plane. Everyone else was a local. So there's some, you know, things going on that a lot of people are scared to go to the country, but it felt pretty safe if you weren't like near a land border and some other things. But it's really underrated because almost no one knows where it is, what it is, where, you know, at least from people, my friends back home, and no one really talks about it, but it is truly, truly magical. Like some of the places we went to were some of my favorite travel memories ever. So yeah, I could go into a whole thing on that, but I'll just put that out there as it feels like what I imagine Thailand probably was like 40, 50 years ago in terms of like a tourist experience, where to me, Thailand now is so touristy, and, you know, it's touristy for a reason, but yeah, it's like you still get the just pristine natural part of a country that's just not overrun with tourists, and it's really cool in my mind. So that's my answer. Number 2, guys, and this one's a more of a rapid fire, I think, but favorite gadget to help you with digital nomad life, Jeff.
Power bank.
Okay.
For
Right.
sure. I the amount of times I can think of like being in an airport or somewhere where I need to get somewhere else and my phone is gonna die is like constant. Like I'm living in a state of my phone is gonna die, or I need my headphones to charge, or I need something to like emergency charge my laptop. You know, just as a digital nomad, I would say that's like the first thing that you should probably buy is a little power bank for your cell phone, and then at least like probably a big power bank in case the power goes out. If you're in a sandy place like you like, and the power goes out,
Happens often.
and you need to charge your laptop and get on a call or something, boom, there you go. Get a power bank. So, yeah, that's an easy one.
You sound like an ad. Boom. There you go. Get a power bank.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even name it. I should have named it, huh? We need to get some sponsors on here.
We will hold our
Okay,
name.
where are you at?
Any power banks? Yeah, I travel with like 3 or 4 of those like little baby ones that are just on me at all times,
For
and I
sure.
lose them. And I just, yeah, I'm like, I always want one in every bag that I like, backpack, purse, suitcase, yeah, all of them. So great answer. All right, Diego, what's a gadget that helps you most with digital nomad life?
Yeah, I'm gonna say power bank. No, I'm gonna go with something else. Headphones, and I'd like to, you know what? Instead of just giving you one recommendation, I kind of think that what I really like about headphones, that the headphones that I use, is that each one of them has a different use case. And so maybe the first one that I want to bring up, let's see if I've got them here. I do. So these are just noise canceling headphones, some of those. And they are fantastic just because you can always get focus work done. You put them on, whether you're in the plane, whether you're in a busy co-working space and there's a bunch of people talking around you at a cafe, whatever it is. If you can control your environment in terms of, you know, you might have certain music that just helps you be productive, but also shut out all the sound. What you're able to do is just basically put yourself into a zone of I'm able to work here. And it's almost like you're kind of taking a little piece of what people have when they are sitting somewhere at an office that allows them to be productive, that kind of triggers them to get into the work mode. You can take that with you in your bag. So that's why I love these. Then there's obviously the wireless headphones, whatever it is, whether you got Apple or Samsung version of those. They're fantastic as well for taking calls on the go, being able to move around. If they're noise canceling, that kind of helps, but it's not as good as the bigger ones. And then, frankly, these, I don't know if you can, for those of you who are just listening, but what we're wearing right now, Marissa and I, is just the standard basic Apple cabled headphones. And I've realized over time doing a lot of calls that these actually create the best audio. So if you're if you're talking to somebody, they pick up much better audio than literally anything else I've tried, including a lapel mic. So just kind of having these different headphones for different use cases, I think has been really, really helpful as I've been, working. So that's kind of my take on it.
Those things are like they're like the Nokia brick of the microphone.
Super reliable.
They're indestructible. Yeah, they're just like super solid, indestructible.
I feel like I'll build on yours. Those are both super important to me. I have like 10 different little mini power banks. I travel with like 3 different Apple like headphones and more, all the things. Yeah. So I'll take your 2 and raise you the next one just to not have the same answer. But mine, I don't know if you count this as a gadget. It's like kind of more of like an app, I suppose, on my computer. I've talked about this several times. It's the weirdest little, it seems like a little thing that would literally not help you whatsoever, but it's like my most favorite thing, and it's called Circle Ping. You guys are probably tired of me talking about it, but it's like a little devil app. It's just like this random little extension that you download onto your computer, and it shows you when your Wi-Fi speed is it's like a full circle if it's powerful. And sometimes even if it looks like you're connected, you'll see your little circle like dying with like it'll kind of go down the battery. And you know if you're on a call like this, you know when it's like, is it yours? Is it me? Is it who's doing? And you're like, I know I'm the problem. It's me, you know? And it's saved me in so many times, just like if I'm on calls or coaching or podcasting, to know like, all right, I'm just going to stop talking for a second because they're not going to hear me anyway. I swear by it. It just like is so massively helpful in my working digital nomad life. I feel like Jeff is staring at me like, not an acceptable answer.
I just don't know the use case. I'm thinking like, do we know who to point the blame to? Is that like everybody should have it and it should show you who's the jerk on the call?
Yes, it should, but it doesn't.
Tells you for yourself.
Eliminate the. You know, and, why is it that we always like feel like we have to assume the blame for it too? Oh, I'm sorry. Like, why are you apologizing? It's like it's not your fault.
It is though. Sometimes as a nomad, like it is our fault to have good Wi-Fi, and it's comical because
as a nomad,
yeah, like if you're just in your home country or in your place and your Wi-Fi goes out, like it's like okay, whatever, you know, it is what it is. But when you're choosing to like be on a tropical beach and people are gonna judge you. If your Wi-Fi is always dropping, then it is your fault. So it's like good to like I feel like you can kind of play around with the best, and if you know you're about to cut out, you just kind of stop speaking and start at the right time, and it's beautiful and magical. Oh, okay. So if you're not using it, I highly recommend it. But that's mine.
You've been mentioning this so many times, Marissa, and
you still haven't used it, have you?
I have, but this time, you know how they say there's 7 touch points in marketing. I have just researched it on Google, and I will be downloading it after our call today. So thank you.
You will appreciate it, I think, more than absolutely anyone else I know on this planet. You personally. So I can't wait. I hope the next episode you're just like raving about it.
Okay.
You're probably not.
Okay, here we go. It'll be like crisp.
Yes, exactly. And Lori showed this to me in Bolivia when we were all together. That was like 3, 4, 5 years ago. I don't even know how long. And I have been obsessed with it ever since. So,
are you like a small shareholder?
Yes,
like an initial.
I have invested all of my.
Are you an angel investor?
I would invest every penny in this. I swear by it. But yeah, that's mine. So
it's a free product, Marissa.
You know, we'll work. They gotta make money somehow. I don't know what they're doing, but it's free to me. So yes, we are not sponsored by any of these people. One day we will be. All right, number 3. This one's a quick one. Well, I say it's quick. I feel like the ones I think are quick or never are. All right, Jeff, backpack or rolling bag? So when I say, I want to preface this because I did ask you this last time. When I say backpack, not like a school backpack that you bring all your stuff in anyway. Like as your main suitcase, are you bringing like a rolling bag or like a backpacker? Like I'm backpacking for 3 months in a hostel kind of bag.
I remember we did answer this on the podcast that never happened, and my answer is both. I shove my giant backpack in my rolling bag, and I can get away with that because I own 6 shirts and like 2 pairs of shorts. So like the majority of my space is dedicated to things that hold things that I don't own. So I throw it all in one bag. I want them both. Because those little weekend trips, or like if you leave for like 4 or 5 days somewhere, you don't want to take the big bag.
I'm still not convinced you know what I'm talking about with the size of a backpack. Like it.
Do you want me to grab it?
I've
got an Osprey. The Osprey 70 liter?
You bring an extra 70 liter and you bring that on side trips?
Yeah.
Diego, is this like adding up to you? I am baffled right now. Like, You know the size, so I
I
believe
don't know
you
the
now.
maths of liters, but 70 sounds like a lot of
It's
liters.
big. That's like bigger than a carry-on, I think.
No, it's like the biggest size you can get for a carry-on.
Wow.
It worked when I was in South Africa because I needed the bag, the
To go
rolling
on your
bag
whale
to get all
trail
my stuff, and then the
hike.
whale trail thing that I needed that. Yeah, yeah, came super
I
came in
am
handy.
shocked. So when you're going through the airport, you're using your rolling bag and you're putting your giant backpack in your rolling bag and using that on occasion. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
All right, the things you learn, guys. This is this is news to me. So take it. This is a big question that I feel like, especially with Wi-Fi Tribe Dig, I feel like a lot of new nomads always are struggling. Like when I first started, I just assumed like I'm gonna be traveling everywhere on the go. Like I should have a backpack, and I'll share what I learned. But yeah, this is a question a lot of people ask. So Diego, what is your answer?
Yeah, so it's definitely a rolly bag for me. In fact, I've got obviously the big rolly suitcase, and I used to have a backpack that I would just stuff everything into.
Yep.
And then at some point it just got so heavy that I
Yeah.
realized this is probably not healthy. And so I got
Yeah.
another little rolly one that I take onto the carry-on luggage plane situation, and I kind of just put my backpack on top of that. So
Yeah.
there's this you can get backpacks that have a strap. You can just like attach it to the rolly thing, and now it's like I'm just like floating through the airport, and there's a little rolly thing next to me. It's wonderful. Quite an experience. So
I'm imagining
yeah,
you like miss congeniality, just like floating on the.
I know
I'm
the
fabulous
way he
when I
just
go
kind of
through
did
the
the little.
airport.
Yeah, yeah.
That's beautiful. I've got the visual. I have the visual. I've seen that walk. I know it. I love it. All right, so
He's got a little espresso in one hand. He's got his little rolly in the other hand.
just
You
flying
guys
through
know me
the
too well.
rolling, floating through the airport.
Floating.
Floating is the
Floating.
best verb you could have used. It really
Can't be fabulous with flying.
That's true. Fabulous and floating. All right, I am also team rolling bag. So I also, like you, Diego, when I first started, I was in a carry-on and also almost like a carry-on size, like big backpack too, because I just hadn't nailed down like really traveling. It was pretty good. I only had that, but now I travel with less because I had the same thing. That backpack was so heavy that when I was, moving around so much, I was like, this is not good for my body. So now I travel with like a school-sized backpack. I'm obsessed with my backpack. It's Adidas. I should link it somewhere at some point because I've gone through so many to get like the perfect, like the biggest it can be while still not being too heavy. But I love the the rolling bag because for the most part, you're just in main airports and sidewalks, and like you're gonna be so grateful not to carry the heavy thing. And there's some occasions like where you'll be on a boat or like going on rocks or gravel or down some weird jungle path or a scooter in Bali where you wish you had a backpack. But for me, it's like 5% of the time that it would be helpful, and like the other 95%, I'm so grateful that it's
Exactly.
that I can float like Diego. That's the goal here.
Yeah, and
We're
also
all
it
trying to
depends
float.
kind of on how steady you are or how actively you're traveling, right? So if you're going to be in
Yeah.
a place for maybe 3-4 weeks at a time or longer, then you're just not moving that much, and it's really not.
Yeah.
You're trying to optimize more for how well can you float through the airport, as opposed to how can you carry your entire life with you from
Yes.
one bus to the next, and like the whole backpacker thing. Of
Yeah.
course, if you're going backpacking, it's in the name. You probably should have a backpack, not a little
Yes.
like thing like me. But yeah.
Exactly. And that is a good point. Like if you're going on more, that's called like backpacking for a reason. If you're on the move every day or 2 or 3, and you're like, traveling cheaply up and down trains and planes and buses and whatever, like it's helpful. Like it's really tiring to move that back around. What are you laughing at, Jeff?
Have you seen the electronic rollers before?
What?
People in the airports with the little remote
Shut
control,
up.
and they're
That's
just
a
like
thing?
they're walking alongside their roller. I imagine how fabulous Diego could pull that
I
off.
didn't know that
With this little
existed.
I just saw this like floating backpack or just gliding rather back. I'm like, what is that bag doing? And this guy's just on his he's got like a little RC car remote
What?
control thing, and it's just like cruising along next to him.
I've never heard
Oh
of
my
such a
God,
thing.
Jeff,
but
I need
That is
this.
obnoxious.
I
You
expect
need a
Diego
Where do I get it?
to have that. Like next time you're home, Diego,
Yeah.
and gone again. Like maybe that'll be our Christmas present to you.
I was perfectly fine the way I was. Now
We'll
I
see
need
what the
this.
price is.
That is amazing. Who knew? The things you learn. I love these rapid fire questions. Okay, yeah. Who knew that would be such a long one? All right, number 4, Jeff. Solo travel or group travel?
Group travel all the way. I've done both. I've done both. I started this whole thing doing solo travel because I thought, well, I started working from home. I just thought, well, if I'm working from home, I can work from anywhere. I'll just try to move to a different city. So I moved down to just for like 3 or 4 weeks. I moved down to San Diego because I thought San Diego would be great. San Diego is great, but when there's nobody to share it with, it's like not as exciting, and you don't really do as much stuff. And it was like the same feeling as when I was at home. Like, oh great, I brought all my problems with me. And then I went on that first trip with Diego to Colombia, and I just instantly knew. I'm like, oh, that key fits. I'm like, that's it. This is what I need to be doing.
I'm highly biased. Whole Wi-Fi tribe thing. So yeah, for me it's definitely and I would say like a step further rather than group travel. I like to refer to it as community travel. I think people have this conception of group travel as just a bunch of people on this tour, and then it's like, okay, everybody raise your hands. We're gonna take a photo. Yay. Exactly. And that's what how most people feel about it. They're like, that this is like, you have an aversion to that style.
Yeah.
And the style that we do, that the three of us have been doing now for years, is just like being in a community of people and then having a group of friends that we're traveling with. And so that's an awesome lifestyle. Like, literally imagine traveling with 5 of your closest friends and taking on the world. That's really cool, and that's something I really, really enjoyed.
You and your 5 friends just taking on the world. I love that.
Just us and the buddies. Well, it's kind of like the 3 of us, except we can't even take on our podcasting software. So
we fail at taking on the world together. We're never in the same place. It's really unfortunate. Yeah. One day. I love it. So yeah, I definitely agree with you guys as well. And Diego, yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned when we say like group travel, it's not like get on a tour bus and be taken around and be this place at this time. Like, that's actually, if I had to choose between solo and travel and that, I would choose solo travel in a heartbeat.
Same.
Yeah, such a good reminder there. But yeah, for me, I think so many people talk about like the growth you have by solo traveling, and I think it's important to know that you can. And often as a nomad, like when you start off, you might go by yourself, or for me, when I really started nomading, I joined Wi-Fi Tribe, and that was a community right away, and I was so glad that I did, because it changed my life and my world. So there's still times maybe like in between groups or in between meeting friends, or if it's just somewhere I really want to go on my way to somewhere, like I will solo travel if it means just like for convenience reasons, or to maybe just get somewhere at some times. But 100%, like I have so much more fun with our, when you find that group of travel friends or whoever it is to share those experiences with. It's just, it is by and away so much more fun. And a lot of growth does happen when you solo travel. But even if I am solo traveling, I'd rather like find ways to meet people while I'm solo traveling and have those experiences together. But it is best when you can find those long-term friendships to travel with, and I think the 3 of us have really made that a priority in our lives, and all through Wi-Fi Tribe really is like 98% of my travel friends and friends of friends it's just like changed my world forever to have these people to do it with. And I think most of the people who I see nomading, and if they kind of quote fail at it or don't love it, it's because they never find their right communities. So whatever community that is, we have a whole episode on it. Yeah. I would check that out, of like all the different travel communities you can join. It is just like life-changing. So yeah, that's our stance there. We all, for once, I think that might be the only thing we've ever all agreed about.
We agree. Yay.
Ever. Wow. We should like take a moment, pause, reflect on that. It's amazing. Okay, next one.
Great, moving on.
All right, that was our moment.
Let's disagree again.
Time to disagree. We will disagree about this one. This one's really for you too, because I won't have an answer. But all right, number 5. Best coffee in the world. Don't think about it, Jeff. Go.
Ooh, coffee shop in Brasov called Tech Cafe.
All right. So Romania. Yeah. Brasov is in Romania for those listening.
Romania. Yeah, Brasov. It's a cute little place. I go in there and I said, I want to get a V60 pour over, like a custom made coffee to order. I do not know what that
means, but okay. It sounds,
it's like,
sounds fancy.
You ever seen a Chemex? Like a big glass, glass thing that's shaped like a V? Well, it's a smaller one. It's for an individual cup of coffee. And I say, I'll have one of those. And generally, they'll just pull out the coffee that they're going to use and make you one. He goes, ooh, this big Romanian dude gets excited. And he's all, which one? He pulls out like 20 of these little packets from all over the world. He's like, this one's African. This one's blah, 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 blah. And each one of these things is like $5. And it's a single serving, like single origin, single serving. And he totally nerded out over it. He poured me a cup. and he spilled a little tiny bit on the side of the cup, and it goes down into the plate. And this giant burly Romanian dude just like puts his head down in shame, and I thought he was gonna commit harakiri right there. He's just like, it's free. It's you can't. You're not paying for this cup. I'm like, no, dude, it's fine, man. It's all good.
Oh my God, what a legend!
I'm like, no, I'm gonna put money on the table, man. You're taking my money, and it was all good. Like the coffee was, of course, it was fantastic, and I was like, don't jump off a bridge. Everything's gonna be fine, and left him his €5 lei, Romanian lei, whatever it was.
Amazing.
That's incredible. Wow, that coffee really came with a story. I can't beat that. That's unbelievable. You know what? The first one that came to mind.
I forgot all about it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I think maybe that's probably also why it's in your mind so much. Both amazing coffee and this incredible story behind it. Plus, the creation process does something too. You go, oh wow, a lot of passion has gone into this coffee.
Adds to it, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, there's a lot, and I could create a list of top. I don't know, Jeff. At some point, we need to create a list of top 50, and we need to release it to the world. It is going to be our gift to the world, and probably our legacy when we pass.
Legacy.
But
maybe
first,
that'll be the real thing that puts me on the map. Not my.
I think we're doing it wrong.
15 years of SEO experience.
Yeah, or 100 podcast episodes. What is that?
No.
But
Follow
top 50 coffees of the world. Anyway, sorry guys, I digress. First one that came to mind, ironically, was also actually in Romania. I can't even tell you exactly which one it was, and it was in Bucharest. And I'm not saying hop over to Bucharest unless you're really really into coffee. But yeah, I don't know. It was this little hole in a wall. They just did unbelievable coffee, and it was a total shock for me because why is Romania doing good coffee? No, but very close to that. Unfortunately,
you don't deserve that best coffee. That was also very good. Never bring you, Jeff. That's his secret.
No, I think we didn't.
Let's not say never.
I don't think he discovered it yet. I remember when you were there, and I feel like he discovered it after you left and was so excited about it. I remember this.
Yeah, and your place was more like breakfast, whereas this spot was just little hole in the wall. And anyway, just enough said. Generally, Romania has really, really weirdly great coffee.
Romania
I had no idea.
Pulling through. Most underrated country, underrated coffee.
Coming in as huge underdog coming into the show, like 100-1 odds, and it's just like pulling out 3 wins so far. Incredible.
You
would have thought that we would have been like hitting all the would have been hitting like Costa Rica and Ecuador and like Colombia, but no, that's not what came to mind.
Romania,
and that's the rule.
The rule is whatever comes to mind. So.
Rules.
I actually don't have an answer for this one. Coffee gives me like the craziest head. I feel like fabulous for 10 minutes, and then I feel like, Jeff, there was somewhere I feel so terrible after I drink it and like have to just go to sleep to feel better because I feel so awful. But I feel like you made me drink one somewhere because you wanted to see what it did to me. But now I can't remember.
It's hilarious. It's like watching somebody get drunk for the first time.
Yeah, I feel so drunk.
Hilarious.
I don't know. Bolivia.
I saw you chewing coca leaves in Bolivia for the altitude, and that was similar.
I was actually going to cheat and use it as my answer. That's funny. Okay, I'm going to use that because it's not coffee. We're going with best caffeine is the new question for this.
You're going with cocaine.
Yeah, really, just cocaine, basically. But in Bolivia, when you get to high altitude, they like almost make you like chew on the coca leaves to help with the altitude sickness. And we were getting to like 16,000 feet, I believe it was, like that one point when we were on the like a 3-day road trip. That seems like incredibly high, but I think that it was you're kind of like going up and down when you stay there for long. Yeah, it was crazy high, and all of a sudden I was like, I don't feel well. I was starting to get that sort of like, it feels like motion sickness almost, and we had this bag of coca leaves. I was in the back seat just like chewing them, and Jeff, you'll remember, like I was just crying, laughing, like I couldn't even speak. I couldn't answer questions, and Jeff like just...
You look like a rabbit on helium.
I was like, give me more of it, but it helped so much. It really, so highly recommend for altitude sickness, chew those coca leaves. So that's
Don't put it in your bag.
In your bag.
Chew it and discard it. Don't put the coca leaves in your bag and
to
fly with them
later. I was like, in your bag.
Yeah. Discard the bag when you're done.
Yes, but they are life-changing. I love all the natural remedies that you learn while traveling of like just the real plants and things that help you. So yeah, that's mine. All right. Next up, what is the one item that you never fly without? Jeff.
Oh, my Bose noise canceling headphone. Anybody's listening to this podcast, I don't know, have I mentioned it enough?
I was like, let me guess, so you don't hear crying children.
So I don't hear any children. They don't have to be crying. I don't discriminate against the sounds they make. I don't want to hear any of them. Anybody, yeah. Anybody knows me knows I'm not a fan of like children on an airplane. They're unruly little monsters.
Or just children.
And I don't.
I always want to have a caveat, like for like the mothers traveling. Like, I feel for you. It's okay. Keep traveling with your children. Jeff just doesn't like the children. We apologize for Jeff.
Wouldn't be me if there wasn't somebody filtering
That's
for me.
true.
But the noise canceling headphones. It's just I exaggerate, but like I don't like crying babies on airplanes, and that's really really helpful for that. And it's helpful for a ton of things. I mean, just like plug it into the movies when you're on an airplane. Awesome. If you're listening to music, awesome. And it puts me to sleep too. When I put those things on, I just zone out and I fall asleep in those. So it's my little blankie.
Oh.
It's my whoopee.
Your what?
Whoopee? A whoopee. It's my whoopee. It's like your little blankie. It's a whoopee.
That is not a term.
That's how you carry a blankie.
Oh my god. I love it. Things learned.
It is tonight.
All right. With that, Diego, what is the one item you always bring on an airplane?
I think I'm going to go with blow up pillow. Blow up pillow is a it's not a brand name, by the way. Just
could have gone anywhere.
Blow up pillow. This is.
He started with blow up, and then he paused. I'm like, oh, where's it going?
I'm going to say that the pause was due to bad internet.
Because he doesn't have circle ping. He doesn't know.
Blow up.
Pillow. You can use it for all sorts of things. I don't like where this is going. Okay, rewind. It is just a blow up pillow.
No. It went.
And you can use it to sleep on, to rest your head on, to be specific.
And where else do you put it?
If you'd like
Under
to,
your back.
you could also. All right, I'm gonna have to compose myself. You can also put it behind your back. So if you are a person who has been sitting on your ass for most of your life working on your laptop, like most of us, unfortunately, and you're starting to get some back pains every now and then, this is a very nice way to deal with a 12-hour flight. That's it, guys.
I'm
that's all it
shocked
is.
when you first told us this last time too, which our episode did not end up going through. But I am shocked that you have like an inflatable pillow. So you get it out, you like blow it, you actually blow air into it, push it. How big is it? Like how big are we talking?
It's like pillow-sized.
Like a real pillow? Like I can't even fit on the screen. I'm like back
pillow size.
like a pillow on a bed.
You know, like it's not like, you know, if a pillow is too small and you have to balance your head on, and if you just move slightly your head falls off, like that'd be useless. So
thinking.
it's you know, half of a big bed pillow size.
Is
So
shocking
it's a reasonable
to me.
size.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone on a plane use such a thing.
I thought this was a very, as a half German, I thought this was a very logical, reasonable thing to have, to own. I realized that I've been getting a lot of looks. Now I know why, because apparently it's not.
It's not a thing, but I love that
It
it
might
works
also
for
be
you.
my socks and sandals, but yes. Okay.
Yes, we did talk about that before too. Always have socks on a plane because they get so cold. But yes, okay, so for mine is also a pillow of sorts. I actually got mine out this time. Jeff, this is just for you because you couldn't imagine it. So mine it's a neck pillow, but it's not the kind, normally you get those big like stuffed animal type ones that like go around your, like, I don't know how to explain it, but they go around your neck and you kind of have to like lean either way, and then they're like big to like takes up half your backpack to carry it forever.
Oh, it's like the horseshoe one.
Yes, that would be a better way to explain it. Thank you. Horseshoe shape. So I have
stuffed animal.
Stuffed animal.
I was thinking of a teddy bear, yeah.
I just put my teddy bear, my whoop. What did Jeff call it? A whoopee? I don't know what you just.
A whoopee.
A whoopee. I just remember whoopee, whatever that is around my neck.
I wonder if that's one of those goofy family things.
I'm pretty certain it is. That is definitely not a thing. That is a family thing that you thought was a name. So mine is a turtle, spelled TRTL. And when I explained it to Jeff, it has like a built-in sort of like structure. I feel like your German, like Diego engineer, would like love this. And it goes on one side of your neck, and then you wrap it around like a scarf. So I'm going to show you, Jeff. Are you ready? It looks like this. This is it.
Oh.
You put it like this.
Oh my God, this is brilliant.
See, it has like a built-in like hard thing. Sorry if you're not watching the video, but it's got like a built-in like U shape, and then I can't speak. You look like a mummy. You're judged more than Diego's pillow. I won't do it now, but you wrap it around.
But I'm the weird one.
You're the weird one for sure, because I've seen other people with this one. Anyway, it like compresses so you can pack it like once I don't use it, because sometimes, you know, I'm not on a plane, I go the long distance for like, you know, and then I'm gone for 2-3 months. I don't really need the long haul pillow. So I love that it just like goes really small into my bag, but it like saves your neck. You can use it on either side. It keeps you kind of warm. It's like cozy, feels like a security blanket like Jeff needs, you know, all the things. So that's my long haul must have. If I'm just going an hour or 2 out of 3, it's like whatever. But yeah, that's mine. All right. Jeff, now you know what a turtle is.
Now you know what a whoopee is.
Touche. All right. That was quick. Quick win here on Beach Commute Podcast. All right. Number 7, Jeff, beach or mountains?
Beach. With regret.
With regret. You said this one as well, and I was shocked by your answer, because typically you complain about the sand, the heat, the hot, the sun.
The mountains are a little too remote for me. I'm a little bit more drawn towards cities, and generally, like, I think the beach cities, almost all the beach cities I've been to have some sort of city, like whether it be a small city or a large city. There usually is some sort of like downtown where I can go to restaurants and go to cafes and that kind of thing. So given these 2 options, I will take the sand, unfortunately, with complaints, but I'll take the sand.
All right. Shocking. Diego, how about you?
Yeah, I know.
It seems like generally we can't make you happy. What other than mountains and sandy beach? What would be your ideal place?
Mexico City.
Okay,
it's my
big city.
Least favorite place.
That should have been the question.
Big city.
Beach, mountain,
Throw
or
a big city at it.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, big
Got it.
city.
Got it. Well,
Love it.
Beach and mountain. I think I'm gonna have to go with beach as well. I really, really love the jungle and palm trees, and
yes,
on beaches. Sometimes on mountains. Sometimes you have mountains with jungles covered. But yeah, beach.
I'm definitely beach as well. I would say mountains make me feel really lonely, but I do like the mountainy, jungly beaches like you, Diego. Yeah, mountains make me feel really lonely. I get in like a weird vibe when I get to them. Sometimes I'm like, maybe something happened in a past life where I don't know, but mountains are they're not my vibe. What are you gonna say?
What about when you go to like South Africa and you get both at the same time?
South Africa feels scary. Like that, you mean like in Cape Town with like the
Yeah.
So I like more tropical beaches. Any beaches that aren't, well, I guess I don't know, it can feel somewhat like warm and tropical with palm trees, but it's not like the tropical, you know, beach. So for me, the beaches that are like, think about the north in like the US of like Maine or Rhode Island, like those places, or even Portugal, those like cliffy mountainous beaches that have like, that are cold and like just cold water.
Good point.
Don't like them. Don't love them. They're kind of scary and weird.
Then I'd take mountain.
But if I want like the tropical island, hot, sunny, flat, like, but I can take, there's some like Costa Rica has some cool mountains sometimes right there. Like, but as long as it's warm ocean, tropical, happy jungly land, I am down for that. That's my thing.
Happy jungly land. Yep.
Right? I think that describes
our English
it well.
is on point today.
On point, aren't we always? All right. With that, number 8, Jeff, first thing that comes to your mind, don't overthink it. Favorite place in the world?
Medellin.
I feel like you answered it differently last time. Oh, it was a different question last time. Favorite place. All right, Medellin.
Was it a different question?
Yeah. I think last time I asked you favorite country. So yeah, favorite place, Medellin.
Because I said Mexico. Yeah. My favorite country would be Mexico.
But favorite place is Medellin.
You said favorite place, so I'm gonna go with this little like group of islands off the coast of Venezuela called Chichirivici.
What?
And
Say it again.
when I was a kid, Chichirivici. It's a great name as well. Whoever thought of that was like, all right, how can we make this really fun?
That's amazing.
When I was a kid, we used to live there back before it was problematic to live there, and we used to go there, you know, every few weekends, and it's just the coolest place on earth. It's idyllic, you know, Caribbean, dreamy beach, everything that you just described. But what did you say? Jungly,
happy, jungly,
beachy.
happy. Oh my God, it was happy, jungly, and beachy. It had all of those things. So think about that. If Venezuela gets back to a point where you can travel to it, have that in like your bucket list, but somewhere near the bottom, give it a little bit of time to.
I can't
settle.
wait. I've been dying for it to be like an appropriate time to go to Venezuela, because I just feel like I'd love everything about it. So
Stunning place. Yeah.
as soon as I do go or can go, I'm adding that. I'm gonna be like, what was that place that I can't pronounce, Diego? Because I'm going. Sounds amazing. Yeah, so I was thinking, yeah, favorite place in the world definitely is different than favorite country. So we'll have to come back to that one at a different time. But the first one, when I think about favorite place that comes to mind for me, is a town called Las Catalinas in Costa Rica. And it's also a place that I often go with my family. And it's just an amazing little town. It feels like a home away from home. It's a place where everybody, it's really built around community. And we talk about that a lot, where you get to know everyone around. There's always people around. It's really friendly. It's got like hiking right behind you, paddleboarding, beautiful sunsets, like everything's just right there where you need it. So that is one of my, I would say, favorite. There's many. I feel like I have so many favorite places in the world, but that is
it's tough.
It is so
you
hard.
You can only answer it with the initial gut reaction. Yeah, I immediately wanted to start arguing with myself. I can't. You can only do one.
Only one. All right. Those were good answers, guys. I'm proud of us for being able to answer that question. All right. Number 9, one-way ticket or round trip?
One-way ticket all the way. We know that. I think I've booked, since becoming Digital Nomad, like 3 round trip tickets, and I've taken one of them.
You just don't get
or
on.
None of them. No. Oh. No, none of them. I think I missed all of them. Yeah, no, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't. Digital nomad life just doesn't work that way.
When you say you missed or didn't go, will you explain to people like what did you do? What happened instead that you didn't get on that last leg of your trip?
I found something better to do than go home. No, that's the way it goes. Like you're traveling with your friends and you end up at your destination, and then somebody says, "Oh, it'd be cool is if we go to such and such place for a few weeks," and then, well, you're faced with this issue of I've got a return ticket. Do I take my return ticket home and skip the next trip, or do I do the responsible thing and buy a second plane ticket at the same time and then spend more money on a new place? And I always 100 times out of 100 will go to the new place. That's the freedom of it. I mean, that's why we're doing what we're doing, so that moment will come up and you can say yes to that moment.
Yeah, love it.
Ooh, well said, sir. Well said. I'll let that sink in.
It felt good coming out.
Yeah, and you knew it. Like you could see it in your face that you're like, yeah, I dropped some wisdom. It was great.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can really say much to that other than I agree, and I made the mistake of getting a round trip ticket here in Bali because I was, it's so much cheaper, which is how they get you. And then after that, we obviously wanted to go. We wanted to take the flight at a different time, and there was a fee for changing. So thank God we did that. We wanted to take the flight from a different country because we would have wanted to hop onto a different country. And then we wanted to take the flight to a different country. So effectively, we wanted nothing of the flight to be the same as what we initially got. And the cost was so high that it didn't make any sense to do that. And we basically just had to get a new flight. So lesson learned. 7 years in. Don't do that.
Still learning. Yeah, I feel like this is like the number one takeaway. If I look back at our 100 episodes, I just feel like every episode, not our only lesson, many of our lessons are always just like never book a round trip ticket as a nomad. And it's funny, we've had a lot of people write in who have listened to this and started nomad life who have said to us, they're like, I was so nervous. Like, but I think before you become a nomad, at least for me, I had really like only booked round trip tickets because you're always have a set time, you have to come home for work or limited vacation days, and it's all you're used to. And so people are like, this feels so weird, like it's cheaper, I should just do it. But as Jeff said, like you almost never want to go with that original time. Maybe you want to stay in the same place longer because you love it. Maybe you want to leave early from that place and you want to fly home at the same time, but you'll be in a different location. Or like Jeff said, you meet people who are going somewhere new and you want to go with them. Like there's so many reasons. And I would say the only reason, Jeff, I think you mentioned this last time but forgot this time, is it's like the trick question is the only reason to book this as a nomad is sometimes it's literally cheaper for just weird flight hacking reasons. To like it's actually cheaper to book a round trip ticket than to book a one-way ticket, and then you just don't get on the second half of it. Or sometimes it's like maybe it's $100 more when it would be like $1,000 more.
Then it makes sense,
and then it's like taking a gamble. It's like, all right, I'm willing to lose $100 for the off chance that I might take this flight home. So those are really the only ones. And I actually did it on the way. I left Nepal and flew to California for my grandmother's funeral actually a couple months ago. And it was cheaper to book a round trip ticket to wherever I had done it. And I forgot that I even did. And I think I was calling the airline because I was just in a tizzy, like booking things last minute. And I forgot that I had even done that. And I called to like put my flight miles in because it was just a weird airline or partner airline. And they're like, ma'am, are you getting on your flight? It's upcoming in 3 days. And I was like, what are you talking about? I like booked it a month later and didn't even know. So yeah, every now and then you can find those cheaper ones. Just just, yeah, test around, try it out. But for the freedom of it, no round trip that you must take. Okay, next one, number 10. Jeff, what was a moment that you pinched yourself, like you were living your digital nomad life and you were like, I need to pinch myself. I can't even believe this like is real life. Like here I am living as a nomad because X, Y, or Z is happening. What was your moment?
Yeah, this was on the podcast that never was, huh?
Podcast that
I
never
remember
was.
this because yeah. Oh man, rip. I know it's the right answer because it came up again, the same exact answer, and it was in Salento, Colombia. And we wanted to go out and find some dirt bikes. And it just so happened that we turned a corner and there was a guy that just opened up a dirt bike shop like 2 days earlier. And they're brand new, unroaded dirt bikes.
Unrided?
We don't know.
Unrided.
I don't know. This is a weird
Unrided. We rode them up this hill,
Oh my gosh.
way up past the Valle de Cocaras. We got to see the view of that, and then just kept going and going and going and going and going until we got these just insane views on the top of the mountain up there. And the guy invited us to one of his friends' family houses, and they invited us in. They made us coffee, gave us some food, and we sat on the back porch and just looked over like the expanse of everything. And I thought, oh man, this is it. That was the moment we always talk about where it's like, it was just some random Saturday, but it's one of those moments where if I didn't do this all the time, I'd think of it as the best moment in my entire life. You know, it just registered with me as just like, it's one of those just pinch me moments. Like, holy shit! Like, I can't believe I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I can't believe life can be this good.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like just a random weekend for you, right? It's like just these random little weekend trips from wherever you happen to be living that you probably never would have experienced if you were just doing the typical like, I'm here for a week on vacation doing the touristy things, you know?
Yeah, on the podcast that never was, I also talked about Salento. And this time around, guys, just so I don't bore you with the same story, I'm gonna switch stories. And because we've already covered Salento now, I think I want to mention one of the first places that we ever went to when I started Wi-Fi travel like 7 years ago. We started in Bolivia, and then the next one we hopped over to but Bolivia I'd been to before, right? So there was some familiarity. Next one that we hopped over to was Nicaragua, and we were small, group of maybe 12, 14 people. In this villa with this infinity pool that looked out over the ocean, jungle on both sides, or like just a little bit elevated up. So, and it was in this kind of remote place. You'd walk down and get to that really small remote beach, like just absolutely, the perfect kind of setup that you can imagine in terms of beachy wonderfulness. And
beachy happy joy.
There was just moments there where like beachy, jungly happy, beachiness. We gotta write these down because it's really so descriptive. And then there was a night where we would be hanging out in the pool together, and just opposite us, which I think is actually Costa Rica, if I'm not mistaken, there were these thunderstorms that were happening over there. So we were seeing lightning, like not going down, but going sideways, and balls of lightning all over. It was like a lightning show. And just that whole month, but those moments, and being in the pool there and just looking at that with this group of people who were all living the same lifestyle, who were all experiencing it for the first time. I think it's also about when you experience something, those first moments are going to be some of the most powerful. And that's why I think my mind sort of came back to this. But being together with people who are all experiencing it for the first time too, it's just, I can't describe that energy. It's nuts. It was incredible.
I love that. Mine is also a first, like during my first time. But as you say that, Diego, I feel like having done this for so long now, I love to watch like when I meet brand new nomads, and it's like watching little kids on Christmas, like who still believe in Christmas, it's like seeing them experiencing for the first time. Just face, sorry.
It's like we lost Christmas.
Santa is still real. I still believe. But yeah, like when you
I still believe too.
We're old and used up nomads.
I know.
Yeah, right?
It's like I feel like I like suck the energy out of like the new nomads when I'm like just like living and breathing it through that. That's why we're all convincing you to come. We're nomad vampires. But yeah, to watch like new nomads the first time experience things, I feel like I've had some times in Sri Lanka with a couple new people, and it's just so fun because it's like every new thing is like just this magic, and it is still magic to me too, but it's fun to watch people for the first time. But I think I also said this was my initial answer on the last one too, that the podcast it never was. So I feel like it's still the right answer. But for me, it was my first really long-term experience, or my first long-term nomading was in Bali. And I remember Bali is an island that so many people will travel to, even just like for your honeymoons, for these big grand, 2-3 week vacations from the US, because it's so far to get to. And there's so much to explore just on that main island of Bali. But there's a couple of different islands that are maybe 2-3 hour, ferry boat rides away from that main island of Bali. So the Gili Islands and not Lombok is a bigger one, but Nusa Penida and Lambangan, and a couple of places. And so one of the first weekend trips we took when it was we're on Bali working Monday through Friday, and then Friday to Sunday, we went to one of those smaller islands off of it. And I just remember my mind being blown, where I was like, I'm taking a vacation from my life on an island to another island, and I just couldn't even. I'm obsessed with beaches and islands, as you've now heard. So I couldn't believe my life was real. That I was like, how is my weekend trip a vacation away from this vacation land that I'm already is the coolest place in the world. So anyway, that was
so many people moments. Are obsessed with flying to. Right?
Yeah,
so many people are trying.
Exactly.
It's on everybody's bucket list. Just Bali alone, and you're like,
exactly.
I'm going to leave that place and move over to this little island.
Yeah, and I have so many friends who have, non-nomad friends who will go to Bali and be like, can I, give me recommendations? I'm like, oh my God, you have to go to the Gili Islands. You have to go to Nusa Penida. You have to go to these other little islands off of it. But they never have time to. They're like, that sounds amazing, but I can't. I don't have time. So to me, the beauty of nomad life and those pinch me moments are when you got into the hard place and you're living there, then you could really get in and get down and dirty and explore all these other places that you would never have time to get to in your vacation life. So that to me was a beautiful moment.
I will say one thing I just want to add to all of this is I think about all of these amazing moments. I think they all were with people as well, right?
Yes.
With people that I enjoyed being around, right?
100%.
I think there'll be moments where you go, oh my God, I did this adventure on my own and it's this incredible thing. Or I was with people, didn't necessarily they're not my type of people for that matter, didn't get along super well with them. And you might still enjoy something of it. But these really, really intense emotion, moments that you're emotionally connected to and that really just etch themselves in your memory, I think it is the combination of a few things. And one of those factors is also just the environment, how amazing it felt to have experienced something like that with people that you care about.
It's almost always the incredible people around it with you, because otherwise it's just usually not as fun. And sometimes the strangers you meet along the way if you are solo, but it's always usually those people. All right, number 12, Jeff, South America or Africa?
South America.
Beautiful.
It's tough though. You know what, I think if I experienced more of Africa, I'd have a better opinion, or not a better opinion, but I'd probably have a
more variety.
I'd feel better about my answer because mine's limited to South Africa. So that's just a drop in the bucket. So from my experience between South Africa and all the places I've been in South America, I'd say I'd probably choose South America.
It's a tough one. Diego.
I think I'm going to go with South America as well. It's got my heart as a half Bolivian. Keep on going back. And the whole continent kind of weirdly feels like home. I think because I grew up in Mexico and Venezuela and amongst other places as well. And then, I don't know, just keeps on pulling me back. I try to explore the world and then I'm like, oh, but I hear Latin American music and I eat Mexican food in another country. And I'm like, oh, I need to go back. So that kind of happens.
Love it. All right, for me, I'll be the odd man out and choose Africa for this one. So I've done I feel like a majority of countries in South America, but Africa to me just has this amazing magic in it, and there's still so much I want to explore. But every time it just feels like a different amazing world, and I love exploring the countries there. So okay, next one, Jeff, what is a landscape that you felt, or a place you were at that just felt like you were on a different planet?
Oh, that was Africa for sure. I'm so glad that came on the heels of the past question because I didn't give it. Kirstenbosch, botanical gardens on the other side of beautifully up there, but when you get up there, the day that we went, leave a few things out, but the views were absolutely incredible. I'm just going to leave a few things out. We don't condone any of that stuff here at Beach Camp. But
why did it look like another planet to you, Jeff? I don't remember it looking that otherworldly.
Africa feels like it looks like a
pretty
different
normal
planet to me. And like, we always say like, people say that sunsets in Africa are amazing, and you don't really get it till you go there because it really is amazing, especially when you're at Kirstenbosch and you're up on these botanical gardens and it hits this mountain in front of you. And so you've got like the moon, you've got this beautiful sunset, you've got the mountain, and it doesn't feel like all those things should go together at the same time. And it kind of feels like that across a lot of the landscapes, all the different places we went in Africa. I was like, this just feels like a different planet to me. It doesn't feel like anything that I'm used to. You see it in movies, but then when you see it in person, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This does feel different from anything that I've seen in, anywhere like in Europe or in Central America, South America. It feels very, very foreign to me.
Yeah.
And it really struck me as feeling like a different planet. I think I actually described it that way.
I also want to caveat, I always have such a pet peeve when people talk about Africa and like it seems like you're talking about South Africa where you are as a country, but like we're talking about the continent as a whole. But I will say like the continent as a whole in Africa, like the sunsets, I feel like literally in every country just hit differently than they do elsewhere. So I'm supporting what you're saying, but I think that like every country that I have been to in Africa, and it's been a handful for sure, it's like the sunsets there are just otherworldly that feel like you just don't see them anywhere else.
I'm gonna have to go with hometown, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bolivia. Bolivia's really, it's just got so much diversity, and when you then go to things like the salt flats, it's just white. If you're right in the middle of it, it's white as far as the eye can see, and then it's just this really like strong dark blue sky, and that's all you see. Like it's literally just those two things. That's super strange. And then when it's rained, you see the sky, especially if there's some clouds reflecting in the ground that you're walking on. That's totally not like, it just feels like you're walking on heaven. Like that's a really weird scene. You can just Google that. You'll see what that looks like. It's really, really strange.
Yeah.
And the other one is they've got these lunar landscapes there. The sand rock that gets eroded very quickly. And so it looks like, you're on the moon or Mars or something like that.
Odd.
So, really strange.
Isn't it? Yeah. Like that landscape is it's like nothing I've seen before.
Yeah. I really haven't seen anything like either of those two in Bolivia that you're talking anywhere else. It feels like you're on the moon in both places for different reasons. And Bolivia isn't like, I just feel like you don't see it as much on Instagram, on all the pictures, but every place you go to there, it is other, like, planetly. I don't know if you could say that, but yeah, that's a great other planetly. And people say otherworldly. I would like otherworldly. Yes. Yeah, but I feel like I think about like our world anyway. That's a great
I think we
answer.
can say whatever we want. We've been doing that so far on this podcast.
It's our podcast.
We need a running list of all of our weird phrases every time. There's so many. All right, I'm going with the first thing that came to my mind. Then I have like a cheat one afterwards. But the first thing, which is our rule that came to mind, was Namibia for me. There were so many different places, whether it was like the big giant sand dunes, or it's one of the only places where the sand dunes like meet the ocean, and sometimes you're just driving forever and you're just in these plains that feel like you're just in a different world for sure. So Namibia was the first one that came to mind. And then I have to just mention in Jordan, in the country of Jordan, say I'm cheating. They filmed so many movies that like they use that as the set of Mars. So I was like, I feel like that should be my answer, but trick question, it's not. I choose Namibia. So still not cheating. All right. So let's see, Jeff, number 14. What is your favorite sunrise?
I would be in Costa Rica. I've rented this place. It was kind of like a tree house. It was in Santa Teresa. Just along the beach there. It was really high up. It was straight up the hill. So when you're in Santa Teresa, you're like on the beach as you're going down the main road. And then if you just make a turn, you go kind of straight up the hillside. And I rented this beautiful place that had this amazing view. And it was basically a treehouse. And the thing that I stayed in was all windows. So when you wake up in the morning, you look out and it was just all you see for miles everywhere is the ocean. It's just a beautiful ocean, and it's like indescribable in Costa Rica. It's one of my happy places. That's one of the areas where I actually agree with you. And the beach, I love Costa Rica. I mean, it's just like it just feels so good. You feel good all the time, you know? And I felt great waking up that morning and making my coffee there with the sun coming up. Pura Vida, is that Pura Vida lifestyle? Exactly. And just with the sun coming up and looking over the ocean. It was unforgettable.
Love that.
It was one of my favorite moments traveling.
Love that. And if you've never been to Costa Rica, if you're listening, Pura Vida is like, I guess it translates to just the pure life, but it's like their kind of catchphrase. It's almost how you say like, hello, goodbye,
like good life,
cool,
right?
chill, good life. Yeah, it means like, and it really is the way that it feels in Costa Rica. So love that answer, Jeff. All right, Diego, favorite sunrise memory?
Yeah, tricky to think back to all the different sunrises. I think it's the same as what we were saying before, that the early memories are, they're really sort of like etched in, and I think that for me it must have been they're the formative years. So I'm thinking back like 10 years ago, we went to Ibiza on this trip, and I don't know, we just had the best sunrises and sunsets, and we were constantly chasing them on quad bikes. We would drive to try to catch every sunrise or sunset, and that was absolutely incredible. I was there also with my fiance, and that word is so formal, fiance.
I know, it's such a strange
word. It's a little strange, but and it was just really nice, romantic sunrise. That's all I've got to say about that.
The first one that came to my mind was I was in Playa del Carmen with a group of a bunch of nomads, and we had rented, I don't know why, it's super close, but we decided to rent this giant house in Cancun for the weekend. I think the beauty, I feel like sometimes it sounds so absurd what we talk about, and it sounds like you need a ton of money to live the life that we do. But the cool thing is when you do this,
really not the case.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite. When you have so many nomad friends, you're living in places that are usually less expensive, where you'd be living at home, and then you can get these giant places. I think there was 15 of us, and so it's cheaper than a hotel room anywhere else you'd go. But we had this giant house with 15 of us, and we had been out, I don't know, I don't usually just we're out in Cancun. We were doing a touristy thing, which we never do, but it was just sort of to have the experience. And it was one of those just up all night moments. And the house that we had rented was on the beach, and it had this beautiful grass front yard. And there was probably 12 of the 15 of us were up all just still awake from the night, hanging in the grass, hanging around, watching the sunrise. So yeah, it was one of those just fun all night memories. I haven't had one of those in a while. We're aging ourselves. Our beautiful formative nomad years. We're old now. Yeah, Jeff's now just waking up to watch the sunrise. This was back when I was still awake to watch the sunrise. But that was, it was a fun memory in Mexico that I'll always remember. So with that, we had promised in the intro that we were doing 21 questions. We started with our original goal, by the way, for this episode was 100 rapid fire questions for our 100th episode. And we realized that it would have taken us 7 hours. So we're splitting them up into a bunch of smaller ones. We thought we could manage 21 in a reasonable time for this one, but we're getting into the length of it. So for your listening, just for your own sanity, we are cutting this one down to 15 questions now for our 100th anniversary episode, Rapid Fire. We hope you found these interesting, but we've got one more question left. So 15, Jeff, most important question of all. In honor of our 100th episode, what has been your favorite part of recording this podcast?
Oh, over the last couple of years, or this particular podcast?
Very good question.
Because this particular podcast would be the stuffed animal pillows.
We have to answer both.
If that was,
I meant to say of the years now that we have been. It's been almost 2 years, which is crazy wild to think that we've been doing this podcast together. But I loved your stuffed animal answer too. So Diego, feel free to answer as well. But what I meant to say is of the 2 years that we've been recording these 100 episodes together, what has been your favorite part of it? Take it how you want of doing this podcast.
I think it was when I met our friend Cam, and Cam was a podcast listener, and he messaged us saying that he's going to be in Colombia, and I was in Colombia at the same time, and we ended up going out and grabbing dinner together, and since then we've grabbed drinks and dinner a few more times, but it was such a weird, surreal thing to have somebody listen and then meet you in person after becoming a digital nomad, doing exactly what it is that we're trying to help people do. And then through the podcast, it was oh wow, this is actually working. This is super cool. And also, hey, what's up, Cam? He's a listener.
Cam.
Super awesome dude too. So
that's awesome. Diego, how about you?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just having these. Honestly, it's weird. It feels like we're literally just having catch-up conversations, reminiscing on stuff. I wonder what it's going to look like 20 years from now when we're still doing these and our memory is fading. But I love that there's so much value in being able to kind of synthesize experiences and connect all those dots, put everything together, and then not just do that alone, but do that with with, the three of us in our own experiences, in our experiences that we had together as well. It's just, there's so much to that I would never be able to do on my own. And I just love the idea that anybody can sit in and listen and see if there's anything that could resonate, that could help, that could maybe inspire. But also, I guess on this note, guys, I really, really encourage everybody who is listening to reach out and let us know if there's anything specific you would love for us to talk about or jam about. If there's anything you want us to stop doing, like we laugh incessantly, maybe we can cut down our episodes by about 30% if we just reduce the laughing. But let us know. Like there's always opportunities to make this even more relevant to everybody, because at the end of the day, we love these conversations. But the point of this is to bring something back to everyone who's listening, and that's been the point for the last 100 episodes. So.
Love it.
How about you, Marissa?
Yeah. Before I share mine, I want to share a similar moment that came up, sort of related to Jeff's. That, like you said, Diego. Sometimes I just think like it's like we're just having these conversations, and we know theoretically we do this for the people listening and for the people on the, for you listening, that you get value. But sometimes, we don't get to see you, we don't get to hear from you all the time. And you can kind of forget that there's real people on the other end. When I was in Costa Rica, I met somebody once, maybe you're listening, but we met, we're like on the beach, and he was like, your voice sounds really familiar. He was like, do you have a podcast? And I was like, excuse me?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought like, it didn't occur to me that he could possibly have ever like heard this podcast. And he was like, you're the reason I talk about Playa del Carmen a lot as one of my favorite places. And he was like, you're the reason, like, as a new nomad, he was like, I was in Costa Rica and I was in a place where my Wi-Fi was struggling and I needed to go somewhere. And he was like, I had listened to this podcast and I went to Mexico because of you. And I was like, what? So it was just really cool. It was just like one of those pinch me moments of the podcast to realize like how much, I think our favorite things is like, we get so many emails when people are like, I've been, it feels like you guys are my best friends. You've been in my ear. I've been, just binging all your episodes, and it's so helpful. Like, it just means so much to us. So feel free to I know a lot of people don't ever think to write, or you like think we don't want to hear from you, but we love to hear from you. So if there's anything that ever impacts you, or you have questions, or just to let us know, like, I feel like you're my best friends because I've been listening to you for so long. Like, we genuinely love it. But the first thing that came to my mind when it comes to this question is really just the joy I get from chatting with you two ultimately, because I think like those are I love the moments when we hear from the fans, and I think that is like it like literally makes my heart explode with joy. But like week in, week out, like the just joy I get from doing these podcasts with the two of you, and the amount that I just laugh. I was talking to a friend the other day about just like fun moments, and it was right after we recorded the first 100th podcast episode that will never come out into the world. And I was saying, I was the one that will never be. I was telling him, I literally was in tears, crying, and the fact that this gets to be like part of our job, part of our life that we get like, paid to do essentially, but that brings me so much joy is like, I think as a career coach, like that is what I aim to help every single person in the world with. Like I want you all to have a career that you have the freedom to do remotely, but that brings you joy. And this just brings me so much joy to like laugh with you guys and share like, yeah, like you said, just jam on the wisdom, and it's so much fun. So with 100 episodes, that is how we'll close this out. So any last words, guys?
Well, it's been 2 podcasts. It's been 15 questions out of 100. I'd say we did pretty good. Considering our group, our crowd. I'd say we nailed it. I'd say we fucking nailed it. Yeah. Go buy a turtle and a whoopee. Get on a plane. We'll see you out there.
I love it. So with that, check out beachcommute.com/email. If you hear this and you're like ready to become a digital nomad, if you're not yet on our email list, beachcommute.com/email. We send out 2 remote jobs every week. We send info about the podcast. You never miss the ones that you want to hear. If you got value from this, if you've been listening for a while, we'd love if you can just, whatever platform you're on, Spotify, podcast, wherever you listen to, give it the stars, the follows, they're all different, but we so appreciate that. So more and more people can find this as we hopefully get to our 200th, 300th episode. Diego said we'll be recording this in 20 years. I can't wait to see what we're talking about then. So with that, yeah, thank you guys so much. And we'll be back with more of the rest of our 100 rapid fire questions in episodes to come. We'll break them up a little bit, but be on the lookout for those. You only got 15 of our 21, so we're just nailing it as always. We keep it real here. And with that, unless you guys have anything else, I guess